Vortex has kind of been a passion of mine for the past few years. I live, sleep, breathe Vortex, as many of you know. And now I get to announce who's going to take over, and that's a big deal. Last year I went to this party of sorts where I met this quiet little blonde girl who I thought was nothing like me. And then she mentioned that she wrote this story called Floor 4 that appeared in Vortex 38, and I personally just fallen in love with that story because we had been selecting for the ACMA Awards. And the first thing I thought to myself after talking to her was, wow, that girl has what it takes. This girl is now one of my closest friends. Over the past year, I've watched her as she went from published author to judge, and later to be nominated and selected as the first script writing section editor in the history of Vortex. And now I cannot be more pleased to announce that she will be Vortex 40's editor-in-chief. She is talented, hardworking, and extremely deserving of the honor of being the 40th anniversary edition's editor-in-chief. With warmest congratulations and an incredibly loud round of applause, I would hope, I would like to welcome Taylor Lee Hicks, the 2013.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what do you want to accomplish as editor of the Vortex?
Well, this year's a bit difficult because it's the 40th anniversary year, so I feel like that's a lot of pressure to do something cool and different, but at the same time, last year with Sarah and her staff, I think we did the best that Vortex has done so far, and we got an almost perfect score at the Columbia Awards, Columbia Associated Press or something like that, Scholastic Press. And so that was kind of like Kaylin and I's big thing at the beginning of the semester, was we need to do better than that, which is going to be very difficult. So that's kind of what we've been working towards the whole semester, is finding new things that we can make, like the publishing better and the stuff that we get in better, and it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So I guess my goal was for this year to get a physical copy that I'm very, very happy with, and I think a lot of people are happy with, and it's hard to please a lot of different people, but we're gonna try.
What are y'all meeting about today, Taylor?
We're meeting about this calendars for the rest of the school year, because now that we know how the online editions are going to go and all the judging and all that stuff, we kind of have a better idea of how much time everybody needs, so we're just going to readadjust some of the scheduling.
Okay.
So, we only have, I'm going to get my calendar out. We've only got one more edition this semester, so I think we can probably stick with the dates that we have.
For, yeah, December.
Yeah, most likely.
But we definitely have to look at next semester since we know what we're doing.
Yeah, because the deadline is on Friday for them to get votes back to us, and then that gives us the whole weekend to meet about what's going in, and then we have the editor meeting on Tuesday if there's anything we need to talk to them about.
I know Taylor because she was in a class of mine when she was a freshman. So that was what, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And I remember the first thing that she said to me was, I'm going to be a writer. And then her email address says it all, author to be. And she was a theater person, and I'm being a theater person and a writer myself. We sort of had that in common, and it went from there. And then she was interested in writing plays, of course, so she took all my script writing classes.
Lydia Pearson gazed up at the faces of her fellow townspeople, but she no longer saw the human faces of her neighborly Theodosians. White faces stared down at her, scaly faces, with almost pupilless eyes and 2 holes for noses. Dr. Bravely bent down in front of her, if it even was Dr. Bravely anymore, his white face just inches from hers. Soon, you will be one of us, another member of the perfect race. Lydia Pearson blinked her slitted eyes, her new forked tongue exploring her mouth. She grinned a reptilian smile and rose to stand with her people. Thank you. That's it for today's event. Thank everyone for coming out, and I hope you guys will come to the next Vortex reading. Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask a few questions?
So how'd it go?
It went good. We had a pretty good turnout for the first event of the year. So we had a couple readers drop out, but I don't think that was a big deal. So I'm happy with it.
Yay.
Yay.
So what is your favorite part about being editor?
I guess the kind of superficial favorite part is that it's kind of cool because a lot of people know me now and I get to say that I'm the editor. But I mean, there's a lot of work that goes with it. So there are plenty of times that I'm like, I kind of wish I wasn't the editor, but then at the same time I'm like, no, because it's definitely, I don't know.
You like being in charge.
Yeah, I like being in charge, but at the same time, it's not just that I like being able to tell people what to do. It's like right now, we're taking submissions for print, and in the next couple of days, the December edition will be going up. And like, that excites me, like every time I get an email saying that a submission came in, and anytime, you know, we find out all the votes, and so I get to find out what goes in, like that kind of stuff is just, it's thrilling. And then once it gets posted and put up and you get to see kind of what all that work went into, it's really worthwhile. So I guess that's my favorite part about it, is once you get the work done and you get to see what you get out of it, it's that feeling of accomplishment. And like, I was a big part of this, and it's just really cool.
So what do you think about her writing? Is she a good writer?
Yeah, you know, I think she's improved quite a bit. I mean, I always thought she was good, but she's improved quite a bit. And then I've had the pleasure of working on her honors thesis project, which is not a play. So it's the first time I have read other things other than plays, but it's the first time that I've read something that big, and it's pretty interesting. It's keeping me reading. I want to read to the end to find out what happens.
So I would say the 11th, 18th, or 25th, we can do an event.
Well, the 25th is spring break in March.
Okay.
I would think the 11th because it's not too close to break, and it's not.
And the week of the 18th is when we need to send the book to the publisher if we haven't already.
Yeah.
So just erase everything I wrote. Okay. And then that'll be the deadline for that. And then we give them the deadline for April. And then we publish it, and then we have the launch party, and then yay, we're done.
So what's it like being editor of the Vortex?
It's challenging. It's rewarding, but it's a lot of work, and sometimes I don't sleep a lot. I eat while I work, and a lot of times I multitask on things. Like right now I'm doing Vortex stuff and graduate school stuff and final stuff all at the same time, so that's kind of my life. So it's one of those things that like I feel like I'm constantly working, but it's usually worth it. It's worth it.
Okay, so the print edition is like the big thing of the year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about what all goes into that.
A lot of stuff goes into that. Basically, from the time school ends in May, Kaylin and I were thinking about the print edition. Like, we got together a couple times over the summer to figure out the schedule for the year and when stuff needed to be done for the print and talk about ideas for it. So, like, this semester, if you take out events and event planning and just getting the online editions up, we've had to do, like, one of the big things we have to do is contact publishing companies. So we contacted the one we worked with last year, which was Magnum 4, I think, in Little Rock. And we've been discussing different types of paper with them, different types of covers, different text weights, and all that kind of stuff. And so we're about ready to get our quotes together, and then we send out those quotes to different publishing companies, and they send us back bids for how much they would charge us for that, and then we settle with the company, and then basically we're ready to go. And once we get the print all together next semester, we send it to them, and then they will send us back proofs, which are like, they're kind of like poster boards, of each page. And so we can see, you know, if photos are going to go over and get cut off, or if text is going to be not readable or not in the right order, or, you know, anything like that. We can see it and we can fix it and send the proofs back to them, and then we get the physical copies in time for the launch party. But we also, like, we have a meeting tomorrow with the possible cover artist, because the cover art, especially for last year, which was one of my favorites, somebody drew that. Kaylee Pennington was ours last year. So she drew the cover, and then all of the bubbles that were inside, she drew those too. So that's why we need to get someone before the break so they can be working on it over Christmas. And then we've already been doing Best of Web, so we have a few things that are going into the print now. We had to do all the flyers and the advertising. We've been thinking about theme ideas since it is the 40th. We've got something cool I think we're going to do that I'm not going to say yet, but if we do get to pull it off, it's going to be really neat, and it's going to make this edition different than all the others. So it's kind of something that is constantly going on. So, like, once the new editor is sworn in, or whatever you would call it, they're immediately having to start thinking about that. So yeah, it is basically the reason we're here. That was long.
I wish her luck in graduate school. I hope she gets into the school she wants to. But other than that, it's just been, I've enjoyed having her here for the 4 years. I'm going to miss her when she's gone.
So what are your plans after graduation?
Right now I'm applying to graduate schools for creative writing. So hopefully I'll get into one of those, and hopefully I'll get it paid so I can do that for the next year to 3 years. And then after that, I'm hoping to have enough connections, enough experience that I can get on a magazine somewhere, or basically anything that has to do with writing that'll pay me, I'll do it. So that's kind of my goal in life, is to get to a point where most of what I'm doing involves writing, but I'm also being able to live off of it. So the thing that I've taken away from this the most so far is that on the one hand, I didn't realize how much work actually goes into things like this, but then on the other hand, I guess I didn't realize how simple it is. Not that it's easy, but it's simple. So, I mean, take for instance the online ones. Like, literally you make it in InDesign, and then you put it on Issue, and you've published something online. And the fact that that's so easy to do now is just amazing. So I guess the kind of the experience that gave me is now I feel like no matter what, I'm never limited to only getting published when somebody else thinks it's good enough to get published, or only getting to do stuff when other people think I'm good enough to do it. Like, anyone can go out there and put themselves out there and put their art out there and push for what they want. And I guess I always was kind of one of the people that thought you have to work your way up the ladder to get there, and once you put in enough time, somebody will recognize you. But I guess now I don't really think that way anymore. Now I think, especially in art, you just need to decide what you want to do and what you're willing to put into it, and go out and do it. And there are so many ways to do that, and you don't have to do it the way that everybody says that you have to do it. So I guess it's actually been kind of inspirational and motivational for me.